The teachings of XOYLO.
Through opening of the third eye, you're able to astral project and astral travel, and through this medium of travel and lucid sleep, I've managed to find some very interesting information, and that is that our world itself has another world within it. Now, some may feel that this world within our own world is interdimensional. However, for me, I believe it may be more of a physical place than rather of an astral physical place. For what I saw seemed very physical in itself, much like the actual world on the outside of the earth. There is another world within inside of the earth, and this world within inside of the earth is more technically advanced than our own. So much so that I would go as far as to say that a lot of the UFO sightings that we see are actually the crafts that the inner earth people use to travel. Not being a man of a scientific mind, it's very hard for me to explain how this comes about, but I will try my best to do so. Now, I'm kind of glossing over the fact that I've said that the earth itself could be hollow. Now, imagine that there is the outer crust, the crust that we're upon, and then there is the inner mantle, and then after the inner mantle, a second skin. So in between our outer crust and the inner crust is a flow of lava that both plates sit upon and move. Rather than having the earth as being a solid mass with an iron centre, the actual centre of the planet, I believe there is an inner sun, and then there is like an inner gravitational field, followed by the inner crust, then the mantle, then the outer crust. And there's openings at both the North Pole and the South Pole, where the outside of the planet meets. Think of the rings of Saturn. Now, if the rings of Saturn had more debris come into contact with them, more rocks that went into those rings, they would slowly form like an outer shell, like a very hard sort of walkway. At the moment there's spaces between each of the rocks, but imagine if they all got crushed down and condensed, it would slowly form sort of like a wall around the planet. That would keep building and building until the inner shell would collapse upon its own sort of pressure, and then meet the outer shell, forming a sort of a crust similar to what I've explained, with the inner shell and the outer shell with the mantle in between, where there would be pressure causing the actual rock to turn to liquid. So in a sense, stars, or suns, are just planets that have lost their crust completely. They have no outer shell or casing, just because the inner sun has become too big in magnitude. Now, there's probably going to be people with scientific minds that would say, no, this isn't possible. There's no way that it could actually work like that. But there is no real hard evidence that the Earth itself is completely hard and solid throughout, and has a metal or a solid iron core. I mean, I was always told that items, once they're heated, become a gas, and then a plasma. So they're a solid, a liquid, a gas, then a plasma. So if you heat it and put under pressure, how is it so that the centre of the Earth would be a solid iron mass? Shouldn't it be a plasma? And isn't that what a sun is? A plasmatic nuclear reaction? So technically this centre of the Earth, by my own theory, or those that have been presented by many other people and theorists beforehand, I mean, there are many different theories based on the hollow Earth theory, and a lot of the people that theorised these have stated that the inner centre of the Earth is more likely to be a plasma than a solid. From astral projection and going into the actual Earth's centre and seeing the sort of race and the people that live there and the way that they travel around, I've seen them in large gold discs marked with various sort of symbols and patterns upon them, very similar to those within the XOYLO so far that I've put together and presented so far on this video channel. There are, however, other people upon the actual planet that have actually opened their third eye just as I have, and have experienced the same. One such person is the Princess of Japan, which I'm just going to play you a quick preview of a video that I found of her talking about this.
My name is Princess Kaoru Nakamaru from Japan. In 1976, I had fantastic spiritual experience. Ever since then, my third eye opened, so I could communicate with the UFO people, and also inside the earth, there is a very high civilization existing, particularly the head of the librarian inside of the earth. I also communicate with them, and from all of these information, I am convinced 2012, December 22nd on, 3 days, when this earth are going into the fifth dimension, hidden government people know it. Just by themselves, they thought that they can be saved. They try to escape from this planet, or they are digging the underground city. We need to purify our spiritual condition.
There has been another person said to have visited the inner earth and met the peoples of the inner earth, including the Aryan-type race that Hitler went looking for during Project High Jump. The person in question is Richard Admiral Byrd. You can find excerpts of his diary. I'm hopefully going to place the links in the video description. Please read his diary, as there's quite a lot in there that suggests that he met with a blonde-haired race that flew these gold metal discs, very similar to those that I have mentioned.
On the 19th of February 1947, American explorer Rear Admiral Richard Byrd of the US Navy flew to the South Pole. It's said that when he came back, he wrote down what had happened on this expedition.
Now, other people would say that this is more of a fifth-dimensional place. The astral itself, or the lucid experience, or places of the mind pockets would be a fifth-dimensional understanding, or physical or vibrational space. Understanding that the human soul is a separate entity to the human body is paramount to rebirth and reincarnation, or moving on, and energy transits it to a higher vibrational state of understanding. An occultist once said that we are all stars. The star that he refers to is the Merkaba, the life vehicle. You must understand that the life vehicle is separate to the human body. When your human body dies, the Merkaba will live on. And these strange sounds that people are hearing could simply just be the Earth movements and shifts as we approach the galactic centre. We're about to go into the opposite end of the galactic centre. It sort of goes in a wave sort of pattern. And at the moment we're going into the negative wave of that pattern. And some say that there may be a giant Earth change or shift, whether that's a pole shift or a dimensional shift, pushing our consciousness into the fifth dimension of understanding, which I feel just means an awakening of soul and the third eye for many on a normal level, without any need of meditation. I believe the Kundalini will be promoted or pushed into a vibrational shift that will awaken the third eye within many people that are already spiritually or subconsciously aware that there are alternate worlds and dimensions that sit alongside our own. I'd highly recommend doing some sort of meditational exercises to try and stimulate the third eye to help the transit or transition within this period. Again, much of what I have said about opening the third eye and getting the meditational understanding is all covered in the basic teachings of XOYLO, which you can find on the Lulu publication website.
The teachings of XOYLO.